what's up, y'all? It's Lee.
I'm Jordan.
And this is the Mind Your Business podcast. Join us weekly to learn how to mind your business.
Or at the very least, be able to tell people how to mind theirs, honey.
Drop the beat.
Boom.
Mind it, ho. Hey. All right. We recording?
Yes, I'm friend.
Week 15.
Y'all. Really? No, but y'all, like really.
Yeah. Week 15. Episode 15.
1, 5. King say.
Ooh.
Boom.
So yeah, welcome to episode 15 of the Mind Your Business podcast. We in this thing. We're like, we really podcast. I feel like we say that every week.
Yeah, I think it's because it's still surprising.
Yeah.
So we finally reached 500 streams. So technically we're like at 506. So we didn't get like an official 500 thing recorded, but we are at 506. And so I remember when we first started, one of my biggest fears was no one would listen. That's Bella, y'all. So they're down here with us. So if you hear some barking or some pitter-pattering of feet, that's my dogs. But yeah, I'm surprised because I didn't think anyone would hear. I was like, I always was like, well, we can do it. We may get 3 listens, but if those 3 people listen and we make a difference in their lives, that's all that matters. And now that he's famous and he's feeling heavy. Okay.
Come on, boys.
I'm like shocked. I'm in disbelief, and I was just like, I'm really grateful. I'm so grateful for y'all who are listening. I don't even know who's technically listening. Cause like I was talking to one of my best friends and she was like, oh yeah, I fell behind. I gotta catch up. I was like, okay, so
it ain't you.
You ain't in the numbers. And so I only know like 2 people that's actually up to date.
Same.
And so I'm like, who the rest of these niggas listening to the show?
But I ain't mad about it.
I'm grateful. I'm happy. I'm excited. And so it just feels good. I feel like this may be a thing. Like, this may be a good thing going.
Yeah.
And, like, keep going. No matter how hard or tired you may be, keep going.
That's the plan.
Yeah, that's the plan.
So, yeah.
Unless one of us dies.
You know what?
We had kind of talked about that earlier.
Why do I think about that every week?
Me too.
I'm like, what if something happened to one of us?
I'd be like, but I would want you to go on.
That's what I be saying, because I always imagine if it was me that passed. And I'm like, now you got to have a tribute episode.
And it's going to be me singing the whole time.
Singing and crying.
But yeah, I think about that too. I call it my final destination thoughts. Like when I be driving behind a truck and the little poles be there, I'd be like, yep, this is it.
I just move out the way. When I just skirt.
I'd be like,
to the other lane. I'm not dealing with this.
This is it right here, because it's coming straight through. Okay?
That's so morbid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so week 15. How was your week 15?
Yeah.
I'd be so tickled.
Girl.
It was a strange one.
I don't even know if I had a week. Like, was I here?
I mean, yeah.
I don't remember no Wednesday. Friends Day. Did we even do? Oh, we went to Cheddar's.
Okay.
It's always a good time when you go to Cheddar's. I picked a small booth because I be liking small, intimate areas, but it was small.
They had the squoze up in that corner. And that's why my statement was so small.
Somebody said something about my friend's stomach. That was the funniest thing. I laughed so hard at that. So I'm over it now. So I'm not gonna laugh now. But
I'm nice. I ain't thought about it.
It was so funny. What else? I was gonna go to the Bayou Classic, but it was cold. And somebody said they be shooting. And he ain't trying to get shot, trying to turn up at the football games. That I didn't even go to their school. Like, I didn't go there.
Me neither.
So we can't get shot there. Maybe somewhere else. But not there. What else? Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I mean, y'all, maybe y'all can relate. It's just that weird period of the year for me where I don't remember anything. On top of I don't remember anything anyway.
Mm-mm.
Like, I think the highlight of my week was we went to Cheddar's. And for some reason, I had like a little, not an attitude, but I felt a little off when we went. And nothing even happened.
I could tell you was feeling a little off.
Yeah, I felt a little off.
It got a little bit lighter toward the end though. But then it was time to go.
Then it was time to go. I think, okay, so I'm starting to learn. And I thought about this on my drive home this morning from Louisiana. Work determines a lot for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think because I'm a person that thoroughly enjoys working.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say like it's my whole identity, but I like working.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because I gotta go.
Yeah.
And so when things are off with work, things are off with my personal life. And we were just short 2 people last week. And I mean, it's not their fault, whatever. If you need to be out, be out. But and then on top of the internet going out, our electronic health record going out, I have so many notes to do, honey. Like, it's probably in the hundreds.
Yeah.
And that just was kind of looming on me. I was like, ooh, because I got stuff to do. I hate leaving work with stuff undone, or at least undone to that extent.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of like a mood bringer downer. Because I was just irritated every time I went to work. I was like, so we just gonna sit here and stare at each other? Like, I want to go home.
And that's what we really did.
That's exactly what we did.
I came up with a challenge. Was that this week?
Yes, that challenge.
It's called the Anchor Challenge.
Oh, we're talking about the hug the pole challenge.
Okay, you gotta use the inner thigh and anchor yourself.
Friend was coming up with TikTok challenges. Okay. That's how you know we had nothing to do.
It was a good one.
It was.
Somebody even lost the shoe, and that's how you know it's good, when you lose a shoe.
Yeah, we finna get fired expeditiously. But other than that, like, my week was just kind of a blur. Like, there was no major like revelations or anything. Nothing really happened. It's just, I don't know. I just kind of have that ready for next feeling.
That resonates with me. I had a conversation with a coworker on the elevator, and I was like, "Do you like your job?" And the person was like, "Yeah, well, not really. It's so much that comes with." What? I mean, the person that I talked to was very blunt, very honest. And so they're like, no, and there's just so much to come with it. And I was feeling it, and I was just like, and they were like, so do you like your job? And I was like, you know what? It's not a bad job. I like my people. I like what I do. But I'm just trying to figure out what's next.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bella, what you doing?
Because I was like, I want to make sure they didn't have something that they weren't supposed to have. And she'd be able to choking. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, like, what's next? And it's hard. And so we talked about this for like 2 or 3 weeks now. Like that same feeling of, waiting for next. What's next?
Where's it at?
And so I'm trying to, I guess I need to really sit down and think about what do you do in the phase where you're ready for the next. Because the initial thing is that you, of course, you should figure out how to bloom and blossom more where you are. And so figuring out the things that you can do to do that. And so I guess I just haven't taken the time to do that. But I also think that, I think this podcast is calling us, y'all. Like, I think the need to devote more time to it is what the overall sentiment I get is. Like, okay, a little bit more on the advertising piece, a little bit more on the editing piece, a little bit more, reaching out type of thing. And so maybe that's what it is. I'm still existing in between those two worlds, like we said last week.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess that kind of resonates because there are things with our job that I could perfect. And I haven't perfected them. I just was like, okay, I'm ready to go to the next thing. And it's like, okay, take everything that you can, aka me and my documentation. Girl.
Bella.
Hey, girl. Yeah. Me and my documentation, like, not the way it sounds, but just actually getting it done. I guess I could work on some things. I don't know. I guess I'd be kind of like, work on it for what? Because, I don't plan on doing this much documentation ever again in my life. Understand? So, I'm like, why work on it when if I didn't have to see 40,000 people a week?
True.
I wouldn't be overwhelmed but I feel like that's also me making excuses, which they're valid excuses. If the system wasn't down every 2 days, if we had a better health record, if I didn't have to see as many people, if I wasn't swamped, if we didn't have to do all this, but at the same time, it is what it is, and you need to figure out how to conquer it.
Yeah.
So, just, being fair. I just think we have big dreams. And when you know that this is not your final stop, you start to get antsy. But, the job is a blessing. Because it allows us more time than a standard job would.
Yeah, for sure.
It definitely allows us more time.
And if we wanted more time to do it,
we could finesse it.
Yeah, we could make it work. We could do that. And so, until we have that private practice building with glass walls.
Oh my God, glass walls. So much light.
Bright and airy with that beautiful Bath and Body Works candle in the background.
And weighted blankets.
Some lo-fi beats.
Ooh.
Yeah.
With a color scheme.
I'm coming in dressed to the nines to go nowhere. Take off my shoes in my comfy chair.
Lunch in downtown Dallas.
Yes. Until then. We going into jail.
Smelling everything. Oh, I haven't said a cuss word. I'm doing really good. I almost said it. Almost said it, but yeah. So I didn't really have any just major anything. I think my overwhelming thought was just, what does Lee want?
What does Lee want? Oh, that's a good question. What do you want? Oh, did I put you on blast?
I think that's the thing. It's kind of like, I don't know. I've been just kind of living in this just day by day kind of thing for the last few months, just doing whatever the day has you do. And I'm like, well, what do you want? Because I feel like I'm doing what other people want. Whether it's like personal relationships, friendships, whatever. I just feel like I've taken myself out of my own life.
I don't know.
And I'm not like sad about it or nothing because it's fixable. But just I'm happy that I've recognized it, and it's like, okay, not what works best for you and so, what works best for you. In this moment, in this time. And I think once I start to figure those things out, I'll probably feel a little less burdened. Because I just feel like I'm burdened. And I told my mom today, I was like, it's like I got so much going on and nothing at the same time. And that's a weird feeling. So.
But maybe, I mean, because there is a lot going on.
There is.
It may not be like something personally in your life going on, but every day there is something new in the collective universe, aka the world, the news, blah, 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 that is like, dang, this happened at the apartment complex. I can't even go home.
Right.
Like, it's something, it's the trial. It's somebody who got off, it's somebody who got shot or tased or blah, 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 blah. Like, so there is something going on every day. And so I do wonder if, you know, part of the feeling of overwhelm or dread or sadness is just, this is a heavy time in America.
And we have to stay in our house.
During a pandemic.
Yeah, well, now we don't. But for up until like a month ago, you were really limited. I mean, unless you weren't. You had that kind of life, but I didn't.
Yeah.
You know? And so not being able to even just move around.
Yeah. And so where everything else is kind of lightened up and we would generally be preparing for the summer season and turned up, like we're not really turned up like that because we came from the Trump era. We're now trying to figure out how to come back from the pandemic. We're still in a recovery phase. We just, and I guess I'm just assuming that the emotions should be moving or cycling at a faster rate and they're not.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, oh yeah, I thought we would have rebounded by now, but no, we still kind of like just trucking along.
Yeah, we just here. Breathing. Yeah. And I'm tired of wearing the mask. I mean, I'm going to wear it, but I'm tired of wearing it. So, it's just a lot. It's just a lot going. And trying to figure all of that out. And then dealing with your own personal stuff. It's just, ooh, honey. It's a lot. So, yeah, that was my week. It was...
Who minding their business this week for you?
Me. Okay. Who's minding... I gotta say it slow. Who's minding their business this week for me? Yeah, nothing came.
Okay.
I thought it was gonna come.
Yeah.
You know, when I was driving...
Okay.
When I was driving from Louisiana, I was kind of thinking, like, what are we gonna talk about? And this is kind of a quiet week. Like, there just wasn't... I mean, it was like a bunch of, like, catty stuff that I'm like, oh, I don't feel like dealing with that. But there was, like, not really anything major that we hadn't already covered. And so I just kind of didn't think about it.
Okay. Well,
Who's minding their business for you?
okay, so this week, who's minding their business are the African American artists at the Country Music Awards.
I saw that. There was 3 of them.
There were 3 of them. They broke some records. Not sure which ones. Joke on you. But you know, while I was doing my preliminary scroll, which ended up being my ultimate and final scroll, that was a thing. And so check that out. Go see who they are because they're great. Boom.
Yeah, I know one is a male, and I can't think of what his name is. And if we weren't talking about it, I would be able to tell you.
I generally would look it up, but I'm using my phone to record, so you know.
Here, let me look him up. What's that place called? Okay.
Shannon, what are you looking like?
And then it was 2 women. I got it coming for you. Hold up. All right. Okay. You know the Shade Room be posting a lot. My God. Because I think that was like yesterday that they posted it. Okay, well, I can't find it. And I know what the front picture looks like, but I don't see it. But yeah, it was 3 of them. And I know that they set some records.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, I did not read it.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay. So the first Black woman to host the award show,
Who was that?
Mickey Guyton.
Okay, Mickey.
Country singer Mickey Guyton co-hosted the show alongside singer Keith Urban.
Not Mickey's Soul Food. Completely different places.
If you didn't know, Mickey is the talented voice behind the song "Black Like Me." Never heard it.
Yeah.
And she
black
was no
like
stranger
me.
to
Yeah.
history.
Black like me. Yeah. And a black like me. I think
Jimmy
that's how it
Allen is the country
No,
singer.
that's Jimmy Fallon.
No, it says Jimmy Allen.
Fallon.
Allen.
Okay, fine. She always thinks she's right.
But that didn't tell me because I'm trying to think of what this dude right here's name is.
Darius Rucker.
Okay.
What?
That is not that boy's name.
How you know?
Because I know it when I hear it.
Is he black?
Yeah.
Darius Rucker is black.
Kane Brown. There it is.
Never heard of him.
I know you haven't. So yeah, and so I mean, I think that that's wonderful. You know, there's always this like perceived thing that there's no space for Black people in country music
When we started it,
yeah,
we from the country.
yeah.
Boom.
I mean, most genres of music are rooted in Black African American culture. Okay. Hey, girl. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, a lot of them are rooted in African American Black culture, and you know, there was no stage for us at the time. But there are people to listen to you on your little small platform, take your stuff to the big screen, take your stuff to where they have a stage, and it seems like you don't have a place there when in actuality you made the place.
Boom.
So I think, even though this feels like it's something that's out of the norm for us, and I guess because it is, because we haven't really had a space in the Country Music Awards, and a lot of people don't want us there. I'm sure they're like, yeah, here they come messing it up. This is something that we created, and we're really just going back to our throne. And so it's a good feeling, and I'm happy that you have artists who can say, hey, this is me and this is also me.
Boom.
And this doesn't make me any less Black. I know we talked about that before, about there's supposed to be a certain way to be Black.
Right.
Certain way to be African American. And it's like, no, this is my thing right here. And I can do my thing and also be proud of who I am and not consider like, you know, like a quote unquote sellout or nothing. I mean, you're just singing a certain way to a certain type of beat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all music is. That's all a music genre is. A certain type of lyric, a certain type of sound, a certain style of singing or rapping, whatever you do. So I think it's beautiful. That's really great for them. Now, I ain't saying I'm finna go listen to it because I don't enjoy country music like that.
No, I do.
It's hit
on
or
the
miss.
radio. Every now and then I listen to it on the radio.
Yeah, you know, I have a few songs that I like. But just to say that I just like country music, not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much. But I can appreciate it. It's a beautiful style of music. It's just not my style. So, yeah. So shout out to them minding their business.
Boom.
And I imagine that probably felt very awkward. And I think anytime that you're in a space and you know people don't want you there, it's always kind of like a to it. That doesn't mean that you don't enjoy yourself in that space.
But it just makes the feelings just more complicated. Like it's not, you know, just people can point at various times in their life and they be like, oh, this was just a happy time or a joyous time. And I can imagine when you're experiencing something like that, it's not so joyous.
Right. Because
just as well as you're celebrated on the stage, you walked a few feet off and somebody called you something you didn't want to hear, or you heard somebody, you know, saying underneath their breath, it wasn't that good, they didn't deserve that. And so, you know, both feelings exist. Both things are there, and you just kind of take it with a grain of salt. or you make lemons out of lemonade, as we put it. But yeah, kudos.
Yeah.
So, what's going on in the streets, Miss Lee?
Not very much.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I guess because most of the prevailing things are, like the George Floyd trial. Lord Jesus, that is so hard to say. George Floyd trial. There we go.
George Floyd trial.
And the shooting of, unarmed people.
Mm-hmm.
I know this latest one is Adam Toledo, 13-year-old, somewhere up north. I want to say, no, let me not even lie, because I don't even know. It's somewhere up north, though. Was out at like 11 o'clock at night. He had a weapon. He threw it over the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Officer ordered him to turn around with his hands up. He did that, got shot in the chest. I'm just kind of like, well, dang. What am I supposed to do? Like,
yeah.
And then the fact that this is a child, it's just like, okay.
My another co-worker conversations at work, they be teetering that line, was saying how they were on Facebook and kind of going back and forth with some of the people who were advocates for the police department. The lady happened to be a dispatcher that she was talking to. And she was like, you know what, I just tell them that, that they need to be retrained. And I was like, okay, I can see where retraining would help. But I just think it's such a more complicated subject than that.
Than just retrained.
Because one of the issues that we're fighting against is just fear.
Yeah.
And, what does it mean for you to override the fear that you're feeling? Because you have a fear for your safety. In order to not take what you deem is that person threatening your life.
Correct.
And the fear is simply based on the perception of their skin.
Yeah.
So before I drive up, I'm in fear mode. Fight or flight mode. That's at the very beginning. And so I don't know if that's a training thing. I don't know how you uncondition that. But when we, speak about, what do we do? Because we do have to do something. And I don't want y'all to be like, well, Joy, what do we do if we can't retrain? But I just want us to start talking about things at a deeper level, because retraining here's a pamphlet.
Yeah.
You can watch this YouTube video and sign the roll.
Yeah.
And
that's literally it.
We will meet again next year for recertification.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take more than that. I seen a news reporter say white people won't care until their children start getting killed.
Yeah, Andrew Cuomo. I think that's how you say his name. I think he's New York's. Baby, let me get the Google, because I don't be knowing. Because I don't live up there.
Say mayor.
I think he might be the
senator, governor, president. I hit them all. He one of them.
The 56th governor of New York since 2011. Yeah. And I think that that's very true. And I think a lot of people get offended when they hear that. But I mean, no matter what, even if you take race out of it, that's usually how things go. People don't care until it's somebody close to them. Mm-hmm. You don't care about sickle cell until your baby has sickle cell. Mm-hmm. And you start to learn about it and blah, blah, blah. And now you become an activist for it. But you didn't care before. And it's not even like I don't care out of malice. It's just it's not here. It's not adjacent to me.
It's not a pressing matter to me. I'm not looking at it when I go home.
Exactly. So until it becomes a burden for you.
Good word.
Yeah. That's really what it is. Until it becomes a burden for you or you become a statistic, you don't care. And like I said, that's how most people are with most things. But we're talking lives here. And we're talking lives that are being oppressed and taken at the hand of systemic racism, at the hand of your law enforcement, at the hand of the government. And so I think he was absolutely right. And I think this little mask mandate shows a lot of how sensitive people are to their rights being infringed on. If everybody else had to wear masks, you don't care. You don't care if it's infringing on their rights. But the second we as Americans have to wear masks, baby, it's my rights. Okay, well, now we're talking other people's lives. So imagine how you felt when your rights was infringed on because somebody told you had to wear a mask. That's how we feel every day.
Yeah.
And it's literally life or death. So I think that was a very good point that he pointed out. Now, I found he's not really afraid to say stuff. I think some of that is that northern personality, just kind of like, here it is. But then too, I think if you live in New York, it's a very diverse place. And you realize that all of these little separate cultures really make you who you are.
Yeah.
You really can't get through life without relying on whether or not you blatantly say that you rely on these other cultures is another story. But these other cultures make your way of life. And so I think if you open your eyes and you see that, that's half the battle right there.
Yeah.
Because he said a couple of things that are like, yeah, I wish more people would say that.
Yeah.
You know, now I don't know the man because I don't live in New York, but I don't think he lied.
Mr. Governor.
Mr. Governor.
So, yesterday or the day before, I think it was yesterday, a gentleman went and shot.
At the FedEx.
Oh no, there was a gentleman that shot at the FedEx. Why he shot at the FedEx?
I don't know. I think he used to work there.
And
I don't know if he had been fired or not. He was young. His mom had voiced concerns that he was going to commit suicide by cop some months ago, I guess. Okay. But I mean, there's not really much you can do with that. You know, like, okay, thank you, but we can't go into the future and stop him from doing it. So what were you talking about?
The guy in Texas.
In Austin? Yeah, I saw that. I think I read it last night because I looked up his name because I saw he was a detective at one point.
He was put in jail on sexual assault
of a child,
of a minor,
or a minor, yeah.
And then I guess got bond, got out, and went to find his ex because she had did like a speedy divorce.
Right.
During the time that he was incarcerated.
Yeah, because he was incarcerated like 17 days. But I think it was last year though.
Okay.
So I don't know what I'm pretty sure it said, because I want to say it said that his arrest was in June. And it's like, so what, has it just been brewing? Like, what is it? And it just seems like, what's his name? Stephen Nicholas Broderick. Nicholas. Okay. Oh, they caught him.
Okay.
Has been arrested after 20-hour, I guess, search.
Yeah, they was looking for
him. And it just seems as though I read a thing that was like, there's been like a mass shooting every week for the past 6 weeks. And I know that sparks a lot of conversation about gun control. And me and my parents were talking about it while I was home, and I was like, you know, I don't own a gun. I probably need to, but I don't. But to me, and this may sound controversial, it's the person holding the gun not necessarily the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do understand keeping certain types of weapons off the street. I mean, Leandria, what do you need a bazooka for?
Things get rough.
You know?
Okay.
Like, what do you...
The Mazda.
in the Maserati, honey. But like, you know, I don't necessarily need military grade stuff. I mean, not today, I don't. But I think when it's all said and done, you can do background checks. I'm a proponent. Background checks need to be mandatory before you buy a gun. Sir, I understand like some places, like certain types of crimes, that kind of thing. But ultimately, it is the person holding the weapon. And so we have to go that direction, because here's something: people gonna get a gun if they want a gun.
Yeah.
You can always go get a gun. We could go buy a gun off the corner probably if we wanted to right now. No papers, no nothing, all of that.
Bro.
So to remedy this, we have to look at what's the actual issue here. Is it the gun? Is it the person? And it kind of seems like it's the person, which makes me question what is going on mental health wise.
Yeah. And that's what I was thinking about. I was like, so is there a way that they can incorporate a quick 15, 20-minute counseling assessment before you buy a gun? But the amount of manpower, training,
funds,
documentation for it, database to store it, would be something that, people wouldn't be willing to invest in. And then on a 15, 20-minute assessment, I can lie to you.
Yeah. Police officers do it all the time.
Yeah, and still get the gun and go shoot up whatever.
Right.
And so, it's an interesting thing. I don't know if there is necessarily one answer. I don't always think that there's always one right answer. But I just wonder, I think we really underestimate people in anger.
Yeah.
And so, I wanted to talk about anger for sure, especially anger in men, anger in men who are in certain career paths. Certain career paths draw certain personality types that are quicker to anger.
Right.
Quicker to use force. You're not gonna be someone who gets angry quickly and be like, I'm gonna go be a counselor.
Right.
You're not gonna choose that career. And so I just find it really frightening that we keep getting into these situations with these people where they get angry and they snap.
Right.
And at this point, I'm not even sure if I consider it a snap. I'm considering it's a sporadic, spur of the moment action that we are shocked that you did. You aren't shocked that you did it.
Right.
You probably have been thinking about it a very long time.
Yeah.
Planned it out, done whatever you needed to, etc. Blah 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 blah. But we're shocked because we just didn't see it coming. And so, I guess my question is to you and to everybody is, do we really understand people in anger? Do we overlook it? Is this a thing of, did they see the anger coming? They were just like, I knew that was him, but I tried to do my best. I tried to get the divorce while he was in jail. It just wasn't good enough. But I'm not putting anything past the person.
No, not at all.
But I'm like, is that because I'm looking at it from a counseling perspective and I understand that people have lots of emotions and they only show you a small percent of it, and that small percentage of it that they show you, they're minimizing it.
Right.
And so I'm going to take this little bit, multiply it times 10, add a few additional factors of what you did at work, who cursed you out, who drove in front of you on the highway, and that's how you get this, and I'm going to stay away from you.
Right. Well, and I think that anger is so multifaceted.
Because it's a secondary emotion, so...
Right. And I think that a lot of things play into anger and the way that you expel that anger, where your anger sources come from.
Yeah.
I mean, people be having a lot of things going that you will never know about. You will never know about. On top of, especially when we're talking about anger in men, that toxic masculinity that we talked about last week.
Yeah. Because to a certain extent, it's glorified.
It is.
Anger in men, it's just like, get angry, go do something about it. Take action. Be the man. Take life by the balls. Grr. That whole idea is based from anger.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, a lot of times we don't see people angry. We don't know what people do when they're angry. I don't know what you do when you're angry because I ain't never just seen you angry like that.
Yeah.
You don't know what I do when I'm angry because you never just seen me angry like that. And I think that when you think about like life and you think about your personal connections with people, probably outside of the person that you're dating and probably your parent, because you lived in the house with them, think about how many people have you actually seen at their angriest.
Yeah.
Very few. I've seen my friends irritated. I've seen them mad, but just raging. And so because I've never seen you at that point, I don't know what you'll do.
Yeah.
And me, it could be me being a little paranoid. I always assume somebody gonna kill me. Because you just might. Because when you
They just might.
When you look at these
I can't say
stories,
they wouldn't.
Yeah. When you look at these stories on Snapped, and I love the ID channel.
I don't watch it.
Love it.
I be looking
love
around
it.
my corners all night.
Yeah. I love it. But when you watch these stories, these are friends killing their friends, twins killing their twin, children killing their parents, parents killing their children, grandparents killing people, people killing grandparents. And you be like, Aaron. But then when you watch the commentary, a lot of times people be like, I never would have expected that. You weren't on that side of the fence with them.
Yeah.
And so I really think that to remedy some of this, mental health has to be as prominent as medical care. It has to be a conversation that is had regularly. Not just when you're in a crisis or you start to have some sort of mental health symptomology. It has to be very in your face, in the schools, at the doctor's appointment. As much as you asking me about what I eat and how much I work out and blah, 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 you need to be exploring mental health things. Because like we've said a couple of episodes back, sometimes you could be physically sick and only have mental health symptoms.
Yeah.
Because maybe the rest haven't, manifested yet.
Yeah, I was trying to think of it.
I couldn't think of the word. Maybe they haven't manifested yet. Maybe they're slight and you don't really notice. I'm like, I'm just a little bit more tired. But I'm super angry. I'm having moments where I don't remember my actions, but people are telling me I did things, but I don't know. That kind of thing. I think that it has to be, just as critical.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot because a lot of people don't take their physical health serious.
True.
And
so we sure not checking for no mental health.
Right. So you definitely not looking at that. But erasing that taboo and just making that a conversation that is always had. But that is a really big shift.
Yeah.
That takes years and years and years to bring to the forefront and actually implement. So I really don't know. And then people aren't receptive to it.
Yeah.
People like to think that these things are super isolated, and I really don't think that they are. I think a lot of people would do these things more if they were more comfortable with going to jail or killing themselves.
Good point.
Because that's usually the end result. You either take people's lives and you take your own, or you take people's lives and you go to jail. Very few people just take people's lives and go on the run and be successful with that forever. And so a lot of people aren't privy to those two options, so they're like, whatever. But then I think about like the movie Purge. If we made purging once a year a
if
thing,
it was socially acceptable,
what would we do? I like to think I wouldn't go kill nobody. But if it became socially acceptable on this day and it becomes destigmatized and you're desensitized to it, I don't know. And so, I don't know. I just feel like getting to the root of this anger, and we just have a lot brewing in this country and in this world as is. Then people have been isolated, and I think people are not taking that isolation as serious as they should have. A lot of people can't be kept in the house.
Yeah.
You know, they can't be isolated like that. They don't have that personality type. They don't have the mental capacity to do that. So I don't really know. All I know is I ain't with it. And then it makes me kind of nervous when we have to go out into the world. Like, I'm sure the people at the FedEx didn't think that they were going to get shot, or the people in Austin didn't think that they were going to get shot. And so I'm like, if I'm going to the Starbucks and somebody gets too angry because the line was long, or you going to start shooting? You going to shoot me because I'm in front of you? Like, I don't know. So, it's weird. Yep. Yep. So, I don't know. Anger is always such a weird topic. And what people think is acceptable in anger.
Yeah.
Is also a thing. And that's something that I see on my timeline a lot. Is that people justify certain things. And I posted something about like, it was like a SpongeBob meme, and it had something to do with a female getting mad at a man and her stabbing him. And I had reposted it, and I was like, and that's exactly why y'all be in jail crying, because the phones don't work. Throwing your life away over somebody cheating on you. And I was like, seek therapy. And somebody commented and was like, yeah, my knife's name is therapy. And I'm like, And, you know, I don't go back and forth and argue with people on Facebook because that's your life, not mine. That's what you want to do. But I know me, I've had to work on anger to keep me from ending up in a situation. It ain't no way I'm trying to be out here letting the slightest things throw me into rage. And now I done killed somebody or whatever.
Yeah, I'm trying to
over something that where my life wasn't even in danger.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like that is something that, and I know that we see it a lot at the jail, maybe not so much to the extent of murder, but I got mad and I picked up a knife and stabbed somebody. Like, what? Baby? Because I just doubt that was your first instance with your anger.
Yeah.
This is the one that you got caught up for. And so I have to wonder, how has your life been up until now? And I think back to like high school girls that fought people every damn week. And I'm like, why are you like, girl, why are you so angry? And then I look at those same people now, you still fighting. And it's a wonder, you know, you still out in the free world on this side of the earth. Because eventually, baby, people not going to fight with you.
Yeah.
It's going to run you over.
You know, it's a problem that affects your daily living for sure.
It definitely does. I imagine that it makes it hard to be a friend to you, be in a relationship with you, work with you, you know, be your cashier at the grocery store, because here you come. And I hate every time you come in here. So, I don't know. People definitely have to work on their anger and how they respond to things. And it's something that, I guess, until it causes you some dysfunction or something, you may not know it's an issue.
Don't think about it. Especially if it's normal in your community. Like, everybody gets angry, everybody cusses people out, everybody fighting with their baby mamas, daddies. Like, the families is fighting outside, etc., blah, 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 blah. Like, if it's normal, everybody does it.
This amount of time.
Yeah.
You know, so.
So, real quick. How do you not lose yourself in a relationship?
Woo!
Because that's a thing. That's a thing. Especially,
it is a thing.
Especially, you know, when you get into these relationships and they are your everything. Like, you go to sleep together, you wake up together, you eat breakfast together, you hang together, you play sports together, you even work together. Like, there are some couples that work together. They are together all the time. There is no separation in what one does or the other, how do you not lose yourself in that?
Well, I think it's important to remember that the relationship is part of your identity, not your identity. No amount of love or anything will take the place of you being your own person. And I think that a lot of times, for various reasons, people lose themselves in their relationships. And I think some of it comes from I just want to please. Some of it comes from a unhealthy codependence. And I can't bear it if you leave. And I think just some of it, sometimes it's just time.
Yeah.
And I mean, we all go through our personal battles, and you're trying to go through a personal battle with somebody by your side. It's one thing going through it single. It's another thing when you're married and this person is around 24/7.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that you have to make and create time for you. You have to honor that time, and you have to give yourself a chance to grow, and not necessarily growth for the marriage, just growth for me.
Yeah.
You know, this is what I need to be at my best, and I can't be at my best with us if I'm not at my best for me. And that's difficult. It's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier said than done. But it's something that you have to go into the relationship with, or at least some point along the way become knowing of. And then once you know it and you see it, you have to implement it.
Yeah.
And I think where a lot of people hit a barrier is they go so many years putting themselves last. And then when you do try to put yourself first, it's very odd for your partner. It's odd for your family. It looks like you wilding out. Looks like you might have some issues. You know.
You didn't cut your hair.
You
They
didn't
call
cut
it
your
a
hair.
midlife crisis.
You trying to go to the club all the time. You know, and it's more so you're trying to find yourself. But it looks odd to other people because this isn't how you normally act. And so I think just trying to find a way to do that in a healthy manner is tough as is. But it's just something that you have to do. And that was kind of a glossed over, because I wasn't prepared for the question. So that was kind of a glossed over thing to keep me from thinking on air. But yeah. And I think it comes with knowing yourself, knowing yourself out of a relationship. And I think that's something a lot of people don't know.
That's what my first thing was going to be. And so I was going to be like, you know, a lot of the relationships that we are entering into, whether we know it or not, I mean, we have to do the work even prior to, before jumping into whatever relationship that we're in. And so if you weren't whole prior to even jumping into the relationship, you're not going to be whole while in the relationship. And so some kind of crisis is going to have to happen for you to say, hey, I don't feel like myself. I don't feel good. I feel like I'm losing myself. Or, you know, something's wrong here. I need to do something about it. And so you have to have that initial awareness that, oh, there's a problem here. Something's wrong. Okay, so I'm in a relationship. I've been married for so on and so forth years. It just hasn't worked out. What do I do? You find yourself how you find yourself at any other place. You have to start by trial and error. You have to do things that you did before you was in a relationship, and you're just like, well, maybe that don't fit me the same. It's like a bad wig. You be like, you know, don't nobody wear them flip hairstyles no more. We don't wear them no more. Mary J. Blige wore them out. So maybe I'm gonna try a wet and wavy or a big wand curl or something. You know, you have to try things and figure out what lights you up. Some things will and some things won't. But I don't know if there's an easy answer to say, how do you not lose yourself in a relationship? Because I think you will get lost sometimes.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the priorities will change and your needs won't be number one sometimes. But I think the better thing to do is, how do I find myself in a relationship? Because you can always do that. no matter what the priorities are with the relationship or what phase of life you guys are in, whether it's home buying or child rearing or new careers or moving to different places. No matter where you are with that, you can always find yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I think something that is a barrier is a lot of times you finding yourself presents some boundary issues with you and the person that you're with. Because they're used to you being a certain person.
Yeah.
And so when you say, hey, this is changing for me, they kind of like, what you mean it's changing for you? You messing us up. And it's like, well, am I really? Or do you just not want me to change and evolve? And that's not always rooted in something bad. People just a lot of times don't like change.
Yeah.
They don't like change. But it's necessary for you to evolve, whether you like it or not.
And it's necessary for your relationship to evolve.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing in life is stagnant.
Right.
Nothing in life is at a standstill. We are constantly in motion. We are constantly, energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is always there. It's always moving, evolving, and changing. Your relationship is no different. And if you decide that you can't evolve or change, then your relationship won't either. It'll just become stale, dry, and you'll be like, okay, this is not what I wanted. And no, it's not, because it stopped.
Yeah.
You stopped paying attention and giving focus to what you wanted.
Right. And I think keeping that open line of communication between you and your partner is essential. Because as you're changing, they're changing too. And sometimes you have to have those conversations like, hey, we've been married 3 years, and I know when we got together, we said that we didn't want kids. Has that changed for you? You know, if you start noticing your partner is very kid-oriented now, this may be a conversation you need to have.
Yeah.
Because people do change. Maybe they just weren't ready for kids at that age, and now they are. I don't know. But being able to talk about it, whether it's a good conversation or not, is how you're going to help those changes flow. Because I think a lot of times people are like, I don't want to talk about it because I'm scared. And I get that. That's a normal feeling. Like, not necessarily I'm scared of my partner, but I'm just scared of the reaction.
Yeah.
I'm scared of what if our conversation doesn't go ABC? What if they jump to X? And I'm like, maybe where that came from? You know, but as we go through life, we change. The way we see the world around us changes, and the way we interact with the world changes. And I think that is one of those things that you have to think about when you bond yourself to somebody, is that they may not be the same person later on down the road. Most likely won't. Kids changes people, sickness changes people, jobs change people, weather changes people. Like, like it's limitless.
Yeah.
And so it's a difficult thing, and I think it's something that a lot of people think about, but they don't voice. Also questioning, why did we get into this relationship?
Yeah.
Did we get into this relationship because I got pregnant and baby, they is coming with the scams. Did we get into this relationship because I got pregnant and we felt like that was the right thing to do? Did we get into this relationship because my relationship didn't work and yours didn't work and we just did something on a whim? Did we base our relationship on love only? You know, those are things too.
Love only.
Baby,
love ain't enough, y'all.
Love is not
love
enough.
Ain't enough.
And so, like, if you based your relationship on one thing, when that one thing changes or is no longer present, like, okay, we got together because we were pregnant. Okay, now the kid's grown. What's the point in being married now?
And I think it's important that even if you are happy, you still take inventory. You still take stock of where you are in your relationship.
Correct.
We do it in every other area of our life. We take a step back and we be like, do I like this nail color? No, I won't get this again. I'll get burgundy. I don't like this car. I'm getting a Tesla. I don't like my body. I'm going to lose weight. I don't like the way that my boss treated me. I'm getting me a new one.
I'm gonna give you any boss.
And so, taking some time to just think about your relationship, where you guys are, how you've grown, where you want to go next, is important too. All of that plays into you figuring out what you want and who you are.
Yeah. And I think that just a lot of that is just scary.
Yeah.
I think when you start to feel that change coming and you can't stop it, there's nothing you can do about it, you get weird because it makes you wonder, like, so where does this leave my current relationship? Mm-hmm. This was not me before, but it's me now. And I don't know if you're going to be okay with it, if you're going to leave. But, I mean, you can't stifle yourself. And I think that's what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
They stifle themselves. Like, oh, I'm in this career and it keeps me the breadwinner, but I don't want to do this. Yeah. I want to do something else. And then you present it to your partner and they like, baby, the bread, the win. Mm-hmm. What you mean you don't want to do it no more? This other job that you're trying to do, it's not going to pay like that. But that's what's best for you, though. Yeah. And so now you have friction. And so now you're like, well, I guess you're right, because you feel like you owe them something. Well, I owe it to them that I maintain this type of money so that they can maintain their lifestyle. We can maintain our lifestyle. So I put my happiness on the back burner. Now you grouchy. Now you burnt out. Now you cheating.
Yeah, cheating.
Cheating.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. It really is a lot. And I just think taking that inventory of yourself frequently helps lessen versus taking it every 10 years. Because yeah, you're definitely going to be a different person 10 years from now. Maybe even a week from now. So you need to keep you front of mind as well. You don't have to put yourself on the back burner because you are in a relationship or because you are a parent, because you're, I don't know, taking care of an elderly relative. I don't know. You're still important.
Yeah. I'm going to say the most important.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you are not healthy, you can't be healthy for nobody else. Mm-hmm. You can't be present for nobody else.
Can't work that job.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. I feel like sometimes when we hit these topics, they need to be series.
Yeah, we were supposed to do a series. It ain't too late because we can cut all this out.
No, let's keep it. But this will be something that we revisit.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I be wanting to do some psycho ed and stuff, look up some research, that kind of thing. That way when we are presenting it, it's fact-based. Mm-hmm. Not just coming out,
But we didn't want to leave our number one listener hanging.
Yes. So I'm glad that we were able to touch on it. Ooh,
meanwhile.
Ooh, honey.
All right, y'all. So,
baby.
We had so many things going on this one that, I'm going to say bye.
Yeah. Like, comment, share.
Love y'all. Peace.
Also.
Okay.
So, on the Facebook today.
What?
I stepped out on a limb. Did you see it?
I seen it. It was good.
Nobody responded.
I thought it had 6 encounters or something.
Yeah, I need them to respond though.
Oh, you want them to check in?
Yeah, because that's why I asked questions.
Oh.
So we're trying to engage more through our social media because we need to be doing that. Uh-huh. And I want to know who's listening. I want to know our people.
Yeah.
And so I created a post and it was just Mental Health Monday. And I know y'all seen it. It say 16 people reached, but nobody seen it. Y'all didn't even like it. But I'm weak.
We're going to work on that.
Yeah. So we definitely, I want to start engaging more through the social media. But definitely don't be afraid to come talk to us or be like, oh, I'm going to be the only person commenting. And because a lot of times when people see somebody has commented, then they feel more comfortable commenting. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to be like DJ Khaled and ask the question myself and then come on there acting like it ain't me talking. So yeah, y'all, we don't bite. We really want to genuinely get to know y'all and see how y'all are feeling because we do care about our, you know, our listeners and our supporters. So, yeah. Guess we'll see y'all next week.
All right, y'all. Peace out. Love you.
Love you.
I don't know.
That was a big black bear. There she's gone.